Denny Hamlin gets his revenge on Ross Chastain, but there might be repercussions. Let's talk about them coming up next. What is going on, everybody? All right, video number 2 on this Monday, and Denny Hamlin finally got his revenge on Ross Chastain. Of course, the St. Louis and the Atlanta incidents where Ross Chastain and St. Louis most likely got into him on purpose, and then in Atlanta where it seemed to be more of an incidental contact. Of course, Denny Hamlin at St. Louis also drove about 3 miles per hour in front of Ross Chastain, and then he made his own incidental contact with Ross Chastain earlier in the race. But he seems to have gotten his revenge finally as he went up there and doored, or at least forced Ross Chastain to either get out of the gas or hit the wall. Of course, Ross Chastain hit the wall. So I think as far as everybody is concerned, they should be even. At least even Ross Chastain's biggest critic, Jeff Burton, said it should be over with. It should be done now. So it seems to me that revenge has been gotten, and whether or not it's over with is sort of up for debate, but I think it should be over. But there are more ramifications than this. Let's take a look at those. Of course, as the old adage goes, when you're seeking revenge, you better dig 2 graves, because in this particular instance, Denny Hamlin basically wrecked Ross Chastain, in my opinion, in front of the entire field, very similar to what Noah Gragson did. And in this instance, there was some collateral damage, and that collateral damage was Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick was having a race good enough, his car was fast enough to have won this race if he could have got some track position, especially given the fact that the 2 Toyota cars were disqualified at the end of this race. So Kevin Harvick absolutely, positively had a chance to win this race. Even after the race, Rodney Childers put just a hands up emoji on his Twitter. They know that they had a great opportunity to advance into the playoffs, and at the very least, they were going to gain a significant amount of points on Martin Truex, which would have been the last spot in if we don't have 2 more winners. But going forward, this is going to be what you have to watch, and this is what you have to be concerned with if you're Denny Hamlin, or if you're Ross Chastain and you feel like you need to get Denny Hamlin back for what he did. You have to worry about the other guys in the field, because now you've taken out Kevin Harvick. Now, instead of Denny Hamlin just worrying about Ross Chastain, he has to worry about Kevin Harvick and any other driver that may have gotten some type of damage in this accident, much like Ross Chastain has to worry about the other drivers that he has touched. So now, in the playoffs, it's going to be very interesting, because if Kevin Harvick doesn't make the playoffs and he deems it because this is what Denny Hamlin did to him, he could retaliate himself. So the second point I wanted to make about this is that Denny Hamlin, like I said earlier, did basically almost the exact same thing Noah Gragson did. Now, fewer cars were wrecked in this particular incident, but he wrecked a car in front of the entire field, and he sort of was let off the hook. Now, Noah Gragson, when he did it, he was heavily criticized by everybody, including his car owner, Dale Jr. When this happened with Denny Hamlin, yeah, they mentioned he might not have should have done it in front of the field, but he sort of got a pass. And as a veteran driver, he actually, in my opinion, should have gotten more criticism for it than the younger driver, Noah Gragson, who he's young. He didn't necessarily know any better. He knows he wanted payback, and he knows in the future if he gets payback, he should probably do it in a better spot. Well, Denny Hamlin is a veteran. He's one of the oldest drivers in the field. He does know better, and he got very little to light criticism for this particular event. And to me, it doesn't really matter either way. I think the revenge on the track should be handled next day because, aforementioned, now you have to worry about, is Kevin Harvick and all that going to get you back? If Denny Hamlin had handled it that day, it would have been said, done, and over with. But he waited, and now he's gotten other people involved in it. So going forward, I hope that, first off, there's no revenge, because once this starts going, it gets further and further and further. It starts to get dangerous, not only for the 2 drivers involved, but for the other drivers involved. But, like I said, now you've involved Kevin Harvick in it, and now you have to worry about Kevin Harvick, and if it continues, you have to worry about other people in the field. So you ruin other people's seasons just trying to get some revenge for yourself. With 2 guys that were already locked into the playoffs, you basically hurt a guy who was trying to get in. And finally, I wanted to wrap it up with, I did think Ross Chastain handled this well. He smiled the whole time. He laughed about it. He said he had it coming. And to me, he sort of was enjoying the fact that he is kind of in Jeff Burton's head. He's in a lot of people's heads right now, and I think he's just sort of laughing about that because I don't think he's given one thought to Denny Hamlin or anything else. I think he's focused on winning races and trying to get a championship, and it was very evident by the way he responded to being wrecked. I think it's really literally getting revenge on Denny Hamlin is the last thing on his mind, and I think from that interview you see he's kind of laughing about it, that he thinks it's hilarious that people are still thinking about him when he's clearly not thinking about them. So he's living rent-free in Jeff Burton and Denny Hamlin's head, and I think he's sort of got a kick out of it, and he's just ready to win races and move on to the next one. So I think hopefully this is over with because, like I said, it could be a dangerous situation. Now you're getting drivers involved who are not in the playoffs, and you're costing them possibly chances to get into the playoffs. So I hope this is the last time we have to talk about the Denny Hamlin and Ross Chastain situation because from my perspective, they are two drivers that drive the exact same way. Denny Hamlin drives the exact same way, in my opinion, that Ross Chastain drives. He just gets away with it because the announcers like him better. I mean, I just don't know any other way to say it because Denny Hamlin is equally as aggressive as Ross Chastain. He might not be now later in his career, but he certainly has been in the past. So I really don't see much difference in between the two drivers. They're aggressive. They go for it. They're going to get into cars. So going forward, I hope this is the end of it because it is essentially two guys that do the same thing. But that's my take on it. Let me know down below what you think about it. And if you've made it this far, feel free to subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And I really do appreciate it. And other than that, thanks for your time. Peace.